Hello and welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to share what is the benefit of comparing buying and renting a home, right? Some of us are in a dilemma which we don't know what to do, whether to buy or rent, which option is the best. So in this video, I'm going to literally share that with you so you know exactly what the pros and cons are and what option I think personally would be better for you to start with. Before we get going, I started my property investment journey from zero to building a multi-million pound property portfolio that generates me passive income that allows my wife and I to quit our job. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to property investing. I've been doing this and I've been practicing it, and obviously I only share what I do, not theories, etc., etc. I only share my experiences to ensure that I'm literally giving you relevant information that may apply to you or that may apply to someone that you know. So let's talk about renting versus buying a home, because lots of people are thinking about buying properties, so they don't really know where to start or what to do, and they want to take advantage of the government scheme, etc., etc. So I just wanted to talk about really what are the differences so that you will make you will make an informed decision and understand whether buying property for you to live in is the best rather than renting and then buy a property to rent to someone else. So the number one thing we need to look for is affordability. Okay, affordability is key. Are you earning enough to be able to buy your own home? Because if you're earning less money, you are restricted with the amount of money you'll be able to lend from the bank to be able to buy a property for you to live in. Again, you need to understand that, because understanding that would also help you. And also you need to understand the cost that involve if you buy your own home. Right? If you're buying your own home, what sort of costs is involved? For example, you would have to pay your mortgage, right? You would have your repair and maintenance to pay, you would have your bills to pay, and you would also have your insurance to pay. And again, if everything goes wrong with the property, it's your sole responsibility to actually fix it. So again, furnishing it, you'd have to furnish the property in an immaculate condition, because obviously it's your home. You want to be living in a property that really is appealing. So when people visits you, you're really proud. So again, there's lots of upfront cost there. Okay, so whereas if you're renting a property, you don't do any of those. You don't pay the mortgage, repair and maintenance it's not yours. In some occasions, you can even take a property including bills, depending on your financial situation. And again, you don't have to worry if anything goes wrong with the property, because obviously you're just renting. What you do, you ring the landlord would come and sort the property out for you. So again, you only pay the rent. Rent is the only thing you pay. Maybe your bills, if it's not including bills. And again, those are the two expenses, right? That is the only two expenses you get when you rent property. Anything else goes wrong, if you haven't damaged the property or willfully damaged the property, you can ring the landlord would come and sort that property out. Again, if this is making sense, don't forget to share it with friends and family so they can learn about property investing. So, and again, number 4 would be, let's look at buying your home. Suppose you're buying a property in London, okay? The average house price in London right now, as I've checked yesterday, is about £500,000. £500,000 can get you a 3-bedroom house somewhere in London. It could be South or North London, and you will need to put down 25% of the £500,000. Again, that's about £125,000. And then once you've bought that property, you could either live in that property, or basically, or you can rent the property. So now we're looking at an example where you live in that property. So basically, for you to be able to buy that house at 500,000, you need to put down 25%, right, to get a mortgage, depending that you're earning enough to buy a £500,000 property. And that you need to get a mortgage, right? And you need to put down your deposit, which is about 25%, which is £125,000 in this case, right? And then you've got your insurance to pay, you got your legal fees to pay, you got the maintenance if anything goes wrong. So that what comes in when you buy a property to live in. And also, if you buy a property to live in, whether you live in the property or not, you still have to pay the mortgage, you still have to pay the bills, you still have to do anything to do with the property, whether you live in it or not. Okay, and again, that's how a home is like. Okay, and obviously, when you buy, you also have the furniture and all that sort of thing. But what I'm most interested here is about the initial down payment, which is the £125,000. That is a lot of money for you to put in to buy your first home. So if you invest that money, say suppose instead of buying that house, you went then and buy an investment property, right? So if you buy an investment property, maybe not in London because London is ridiculously expensive, we can use that £125,000, which is your deposit. We can buy 5 houses somewhere in the north, South Wales, or even in Scotland. We can buy 5 houses at £100,000 each. So that would give you £25,000 deposit for 5 houses. So what we then do then, instead of us, obviously we can live in those houses, we then rent those houses. So in average, a 3-bedroom house in the North or South Wales is going for about £750 rental income. Let's assume we got £750 in each property, and then we're making a net profit of £400 per property, okay? So if we buy ourselves 5 properties, we're making £2,000 a month, okay? That's 400, 400, 400, 400, and 400. Okay, so that is £2,000 per calendar month. So if you times that by 12, you're on £24,000. Okay, £24,000. That's passive income. That's properties that you've bought that generating your passive income. Let's now say you're getting £2,000 a month. Okay, and suppose you rent in London. Let's say you live in a flat or something like that. Or you decide, or you have 2 options, either to buy in London or to buy in the north. If you use the same money to buy properties in London, 3-bedroom, as we all know, is about £500,000. You may be making a rent of £1,400. Again, that is significantly lower compared if you were to buy 5 properties in the north of England or South Wales. So if you buy these properties in the north of England or South Wales, you would be making £3,750 in those 5 houses. Again, that's your gross rental income. Assuming you're making £400 per house, you're making about £2,000 a month. If you times that by 12, that's £24,000 passive income. Okay, in 2 years you are on £48,000. Okay, so let me tell you why I think it's vital for us to do this. So basically, if you're renting in London, you could actually find a house, a 2-bedroom house or 3-bedroom house. You can go and pay £1,600, okay, or £1,500 for that house. So what you rent that house for you and your family, and then you use that £125,000 to invest in South Wales or the north of England, and then you'll be able to buy those five houses, and each of those 5 houses will generate you £400. That will give you £24,000 a year or £2,000 a month. If your rent is £1,500, you can even deduct that from that £2,000. You're making about £500 net. So again, that's the benefit you get for when you actually buy an investment property, because you could live lower at 1,500, get your properties rented, and then obviously you make cash flow that way. So again, that's another advantage for actually buying investment properties instead of buying a home to live in. So suppose now we know we're making £24,000 a year, and then we want to remortgage in about 2 years' time, because we then know probably we may be able to get some capital appreciation in it. Assuming that we rent the properties for 2 years, those 5 properties would have generated you £48,000 net cash flow, net profit, right? Those 5 properties, £48,000 in 2 years, okay? Assuming that property prices went up by 7.5%. In average, property prices goes up by 7.5% every year, but we now know it goes more than that these days. COVID literally changed the world, and then since then, property prices going up really crazy. So worst case scenario, let's say property prices went up by 7.5%. Right? Let's just say 7.5% in one, we just say 7.5% for both years, okay? So looking at that now, for both years, you would have generated 37,500 in capital appreciation. This is only holding on the properties, not selling it, and property prices goes up. And we're assuming that the property price only went up by 7.5% for the 2 years, which is not realistic, because we know it goes up 7.5% every year. So worst case scenario, those 5 houses would have gone up by 37,500. So adding your rent, which was 48,000, plus your 37,500, you would have generated £85,000 cash flow in those 5 properties. So that £85,000 is a good start for you. So what you could do if I was yours, I don't go and buy my home, right? I go and buy 3 more properties, because that £85,000 will get you 3 more properties plus a little bit change on it, which you could use to renovate and then obviously rent the properties out. So again, you can repeat the process every two years. So again, that is the reason why it's better to literally buy the investment properties now if you're thinking long term. Right, if you're thinking long term, because even in after 2 years you decide to go and buy your own home, you've got more than enough money to actually start looking to buy properties for yourself. But in this example, I would recommend you go and buy 3 more houses, so that way then you have 8 houses, which will generate you higher cash flow. So basically what I would recommend for the short term, invest in buying these properties, buy the buy-to-let properties and rent them out to get passive income, right? Because once you've got passive income, you'll be earning enough to be able to buy your home. So what I would recommend to you, long term, owning your own home is good, right? Buying your home is good, especially if you have enough passive income, right? And if you've got enough passive income, you've got options. Then you can either buy the property cash, right? Or you can put down payment, because if you have enough money to be able to do that, then your home becomes a blessing instead of curse. We know we have so many people that are only working for their mortgages, basically. They cannot do anything else. I know someone who's literally bought a house. His mortgage is about £2,000, right? £2,000, that's what he's paid. He went on to a ridiculously high interest rate, and then his salary is about £3,000 or so, including his wife, maybe it's about £4,000. So literally they're working for the house, and they're really struggling now, especially when COVID hits. They really struggle to be able to keep up with the mortgage and with their house. So again, get the passive income first, invest, and then you can go and buy your dream house. You can then either buy it cash or put a down payment. Imagine you repeat that process for only 4 years, right? You would have enough money to go and buy whatever house you want to buy, and again still have 8 or 12 houses that are generating you passive income. So again, in the long run, that's what you need to be thinking about. It's not about you buying a nice house, family would come and visit, make party in it, or house opening. It's not that. It's about the long term, right? Invest for the short term for you to have an amazing house in the long term. Absolutely amazing way to actually create wealth. Again, my recommendation, I would say, is to invest now. Buy the buy-to-let properties that will generate you passive income. 5-8 years down the line, you can then buy your own home, and where you could live with you and your family, especially if you have a young family. So it's better to literally stay where you are now until you have enough cash to be able to move to a better location. I hope this episode has been helpful. If this episode has been helpful, don't forget to hit the like button below. Subscribe to my channel for more of these amazing tutorials. I look forward to sharing the next episode.